I'm Kevin Eikenberry, and I'm here to help you reach your potential as a leader and a human being. Welcome to Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast. Question for you: do your traditions feed you? Are you ready? Let's get started. When I think of the word tradition, I think of Fiddler on the Roof.
Tradition!
Because that song, Tradition, is my favorite song in one of my favorite plays. Now, we all have traditions, big ones like weddings and special events, and smaller ones like things you do on holidays, or certain situations at certain times of the year. And some of your traditions might actually feed you because they might involve food. But that's not really what I'm talking about here. We've had lots of traditions in our lives. We have lots of traditions probably at work, or at least you used to have traditions at work. And so our traditions are comfortable and known. But just because they're comfortable and known, and just because we always do them, we may not ask ourselves some important questions, like, are they helpful? Is this tradition helpful? I can think of lots of things that we've done forever that people might say, like, why do we do that? I don't even know why we do it. Is it even helpful? Maybe not. But until we ask the question, is it helpful, we won't change it. Second question, do they feed you? Which is basically just another way of asking the same thing. Do you feel better? Do you gain something from exercising that tradition, doing that thing? Is it helpful and does it feed you? If we will stop and ask ourselves those questions instead of just taking those traditions at face value, it's Friday, so we might as well, right? It's Tuesday, so you know we will. Instead of doing that, we can now ask ourselves this question: should we keep or toss? And yes, it's okay to toss a tradition if it doesn't give you good answers to the first two questions. And guess what else? Every tradition started somewhere, so you can also create new ones. Now, I want to really get you thinking about this. Of course, it applies to any part of your life. But I really want you to think about this specifically at work. Because depending on when you watch this, you may be going back to the workplace, or you might be continuing in a remote situation. But regardless of that, the question might be, what do we need to reinstitute? Did we have some traditions before that when we all went home, they got put on hold or they stopped happening? Do we need to reinstitute some? It's worth thinking about. Are there some new things that we've created that we want to keep from the lockdown? So maybe you're now going back to the office some or all of the time, but some things that you did when we were all remote actually were useful. Make sure that if they worked, that we keep them. And then lastly, because our world of work continues to change, the question would be, do we need to build any new ones? Now, nothing's a tradition the first time, but we can try something and then ask ourselves the question, was that helpful? Did that feed us? Do we want to do it again? So we try something that might, just might, become a valuable tradition. Let me close with today's tweet. Are your traditions helping your team succeed? If not, it's time for some new traditions. Now, I closed this podcast talking very specifically about work and how the future of our work continues to change. Whether you are fully remote or in some sort of hybrid scenario, you might find value in our weekly newsletter that we call simply the Remote Work Newsletter. If that would be useful to you, it's free. You can sign up from the links that you see on this page, or just go to kevineikenberry.com/remote. I hope you'll do that. Sign up and join us there. And I hope you'll be here next week, because I will be right here for the next episode of Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast.